the healing I had done and the lessons I had learned up until now, they were all amazing. I they were all things that I learned. They were the lessons I needed to learn on my own, to be on my own, how to not be taken advantage of anymore. Um, what I bring to somebody, like, right? Like it was about me getting my sparkle back. It was about me finding me. And while there were little things like money and divorce and that kind of thing that went against the church and what I knew and my truths and beliefs, the reality is most of them didn't, right? Like they were wildly accepted. Okay. So now this shirt just does not sit straight. um, Jill got me onto FET and I started interviewing people and realizing like my entire world was like open. Her and I were we would walk around the botanical gardens and we were laughing because we were like googling shit. There was all these letters and things that were we didn't know any of this existed. I didn't know any of this existed. So, anyways, AC sends me the message. I respond back. It took me about 3 weeks to respond back, but I responded back and we started talking and I was immediately addicted to him. In the meantime, I also get a message from a local couple. And the local couple is chatting. They want to know if I would be interested in a threesome. And ironically, the crazy part was as I was scrolling through their pictures, I recognized where their pictures were taken. And their photographer was my best friend. I desperately wanted to say yes. When somebody would ask what my fantasy was, a threesome was the first thing that always came to my mind. But I was way too embarrassed. I was way too ashamed. And I think part of the problem was because I don't consider myself bi. I consider myself straight. Because truth be told, while I have fun playing with women, I enjoy playing with them much more when there's a man present. And when it comes to a relationship and long term, I want a man. So I feel like there was never a spot for me to check because there's no box. When people ask about your sexual identity, no, there's no box that says spaghetti, right? Which, if you don't know, means straight until wet. Um, but there's no box that says that. Okay. So what do you do? And my mom always, this was always a conversation that would come up over and over again because she would say, I understand being gay. I even understand being bi, but I don't understand how you could be married to somebody for 20 years and then and nobody knows, and you didn't know, and then you realize that you're gay. Um, and so I felt like making that change, that distinction, that like had I been gay from the time I was little, I truly feel like I was in an environment where I would have had no issues like saying like I like girls, and my family would have been totally fine with it. But as that's not what happened, and as I don't want a relationship with a girl, and I don't even want to play with her just on her own. I didn't know how to say it, right? So they reached out asking if I would ever be interested. And I remember sitting there now knowing that these are people who partake in this. I was so terrified. I couldn't even be honest with myself. I knew how badly I wanted to do it, but I couldn't admit it to myself. I was looking for somebody to give me permission to do it. I was looking for somebody to tell me it was okay. It was somewhere in my head, I had convinced myself that, like, I don't know, if I do this again, it makes me not moral. It makes me bad. And none of that is true. Suddenly, this entire world of sex and kink and exploration was opening up, and it contradicted all of the truths I previously knew. It contradicted everything I was raised to believe. And I knew my very Catholic family was not going to be okay with it. I took weeks to make a decision with them. Weeks. Like, I took so much time. I went and met them. I asked questions. Because I couldn't even understand how this worked. I couldn't even understand how you get to this point as a couple. Like, I didn't understand any of it, and I needed to. And it changed and opened my world. I remember sitting with Jill, my best friend in the entire world, the woman who knows more about me, who I am so safe with. I would tell her anything. And I remember sitting there, and I remember her asking me, like, so are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't know. But that's when it did occur to me, if I can't admit this to myself, can I call myself authentic? Can I even be aware? I started having these internal, I was internally tortured. There were things I wanted to do, to say. I had the podcast at the time, and I loved podcasting, and there were things directions I wanted to go with it, but I had a very conservative crowd in some regards, and I struggled. What were people going to think of me, and all of these things? It was really hard.